own programs, but all of this is about turning individual success into collective success. That's the turning around of the story that we have been talking about. I'm sorry for having taken too long, but let me get to the third story and then end. And the third story is about you. It is a story about giving and volunteering by Pakistani Americans. This is from a book that I did a few years ago called Portrait of a Giving Community by Pakistanis, and I'll be very, very quick about this, but I do want to put some slides because it is about you, and I do hope that you find this of interest. This is the book published by Harvard University Press in 2006. Here is one of the amazing findings that we found in the book. So this was a few years ago. We first of all, it was the first baseline study of how many Pakistanis are in America, where they live. Most of them live in New Jersey and New York. After that, in Texas and California. And then they are sort of spread in the Midwest, around Chicago, and so on and so forth. But the essential thing about this figure is that you will find Pakistanis in each of the 50 states. Supposedly, there are 13 of us in Alaska. Now, 3 of them left after Governor Palin. I just couldn't miss that one. But they are everywhere. Now, this has very serious political implications, and this is what the New York Times always quotes me on. This does have serious implications. They're everywhere. And they're everywhere because they essentially came to colleges and they essentially came to study, but that's not the point. The point is that over the last 60 years, we tracked when Pakistanis came to the US, why they came, how they came, and again, I won't go through the numbers, but just to as the graph comes up, we divided into 5 phases, the current one being the post 9/11 one. My favorite phase of Pakistanis in America is the Pakistanis who came to America before there was a Pakistan. बस यही पहचान थी मेरी हर पहचान से पहले भी. पाकिस्तान का शहरी था मैं, पाकिस्तान से पहले भी. I've never understood that one fully. But who knows the name of a Hollywood actor who was the star actor in 37 Hollywood movies? And Jamuddin nahi, star. 2 minute wala role nahi, sorry. Yasab is a dear friend, but nahi, star. Main headline. He was immigrant from Pakistan number 3. Gentleman called Sabu Dastagir. If you ever saw a black and white Tarzan movie, the guy was immigrant number 3, Pakistani to become an American. He fought in the Second World War, was actually decorated in the Second World War for the US Army, and so on and so forth. The point I'm trying to make is that Pakistanis have been coming here for a long time. Here is the clincher. We calculated or tried to calculate our number. We computed that the total number of annual giving, philanthropy by Pakistanis in America is equal to $1 billion a year. This is in the year 2003, so it's soon after 9/11. It's well before the earthquake when it went up. Now that is a wow number. That is a wow number. This is more wow, even though you'll think it is not. Of that 1 billion, 750 million is in volunteering and time. Now you might think, well, that's not impressive. It's actually very impressive, because volunteering of time is calculated by the Department of Labor, not on what you earn, but everyone's time is equal. It's at $17.38. You come to 750 million at $17.38 an hour. That's a lot of hours. The cash component of that is 250 million, right? All estimates suggest that this community, the first map was 500,000 Pakistanis in America, which is a very conservative number. They're probably more, is giving that much number. Very, very quickly, won't go through this, but of the 250 million that is in cash and kind, 50 million is in kind, 200 million is in cash. About half and a half is faith-based versus other giving. Faith-based does not mean giving to religion. It is giving because of the motivation of religion, as opposed to other giving. And then of the others, about 50 million is to causes in the US, 100 million to causes in Pakistan, 100 million unrelated to Pakistan. Now, Javed Sahib is sitting there and saying, if all that money is going, why isn't it coming to HDF? It's not coming to HDF, sir. We all love you. We all love you. It's not coming to HDF because most Pakistanis give as they should to individuals in need, not to organizations. And there's a very clear reason for that. Most of us, my mother calls me and says, someone is getting married, send some money. And I say, who is it? And she says, none of your business. Right? And she's exactly right. Because there's a Safed Poshi. Pakistanis will understand this concept. Right? You don't want to know. You don't want, it's about dignity. It's about development. So most charity is given to individuals. It's given to individuals because if you're in Pakistan, there is no dearth of individuals in need. Go out and someone will knock at your car. Right? And so it's easier to give. But we are a giving people. We are a giving people. What we find in our research is that the longer people stay in the US, the more American they become, but they do not become less Pakistani in their giving. And this was demonstrated again earlier in this room. Right? And you do not need to make that choice. The frustration of the moment, if you're a Pakistani American, is not that we are under the spotlight. I think the frustration of the moment is because we are asked to choose whether we are on this side of the hyphen or that side of the hyphen. And that's a choice we refuse to make. Because you can be both. We are capable as a species to be both American and Pakistanis. And that's what this number shows, that your giving to non-Pakistani causes increases, but your giving to Pakistani causes does not decrease. The last slide, and I apologize for taking too long, is we try to compare various communities. Right? So how are Pakistanis in giving? So giving of Pakistanis in Pakistan is 1.3% of GNP. We've done that study earlier, or 2.2% of GNP. Now that's pretty impressive. Pakistanis in Pakistan are themselves very giving people. Giving of all Americans in America, so all US giving, what our study found was 2.2% of GDP or 2.7% of household income. Pretty impressive. The last thing here is giving by Pakistanis in America. And what we found there is 3.5% of estimated household income. And what that means is that number is slightly higher. The denominator in the 3 is different. That doesn't mean Pakistanis are more giving than other people. That only means we are no less giving than other people. When we did our surveys, the most interesting thing was whenever we asked people, they said, we asked them, how are we as a community? And the answer was, nahi ji, achhe hain, lekin baki bahut achhe. That community does so much. This community is so organized. We are not as organized. What we find is either they are all lying about their own giving, or we are more giving than we think, and this is an amazing success. Giving research about philanthropy shows that all communities exaggerate. They think, people think they are more beautiful than they are, and they think they are more charitable than they are, except for the Pakistani community, which thinks it is less charitable than it is. Right? A lot of people have problems with Pakistanis, but Pakistanis have more problems with themselves than anyone else. And that is really the message. We are a good people. We are a giving people. And if we don't acknowledge that ourselves, that does not mean we are a people without problems. We have plenty of problems. And that is why we have HDF. We need to acknowledge our problems, but we also need to acknowledge our strength. And we do that, as I started, by the lessons of Mehboob Haq, which is the lesson of Lalsif, the lesson of Akhtar Hamid Khan, which is the lesson of community empowerment, and the lesson of Abdus Sattar Idi, which is the lesson of philanthropy. And that is what I wanted to say to you. Thank you very much.